It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on!
And this game is over. Appropriate. Yeah.
Very appropriate. San Francisco Giants, 5-4, the walk-off walk, which is probably the most unexciting way to walk off. That and a sack fly, but even a sack fly, if it's deep enough, maybe there's some throw if it's shallow. I don't know. But who cares? They won the damn game. That's all that matters. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the Pregame Show, Joe Spadoni. And for the next hour, you got me on your airwaves. Hope all of you who are still working are, you know what, enjoying it. And if you're not, I hope I can bring some joy to you, whether it's through the Giants getting that win on a night where they honored Willie Mays, the late, great Willie Mays, who left us last week at the age of 93. Every single San Francisco Giants player, staff, coach, whatever, rocking that 24. It was all around the stadium. It was a beautiful sight to see. And it's kind of interesting. So they start the road trip last week in Chicago against the Cubs with a ninth inning comeback. Tyro Estrada, 3-run jackski. And then a week later, against the Cubs at home, they walk it off in the ninth. Okay. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, because after that win on the start of the road trip last week, they didn't win another game. So maybe this time they could actually carry some momentum on this homestand and take the series today and then get greedy and maybe, just maybe, go for the sweep. But 888-957-9570, if any of you are at the ballpark, I would love to hear it. It was awesome to hear Dave Fleming, Dwayne Kuiper, Mike Krukow, and that little, speech that they had prior to the game and what Willie meant to all of them and every single Giants fan. It was very special. And you know what? You better have won that game. Like, watching that game was so damn frustrating, whether it was Elliot Ramos just coming up short for tying the game. They got on second and third, 1 out, can't score there, down 2, getting into the ninth inning, and then you get a rally. You get a bunt, you get Matt Chapman, it's him scored, then you got Flores, Wilmer Flores being the hero on a walk-off walk. Again, they're just so funny to me. Like, there's moment in sports where you're expecting just a base hit, something crazy to happen. And then in baseball, you could just have plays like that where it's just like, oh, he just can't throw the ball, so we're just going to win the game. All right, that's fine. That's fine with me. I guess the worst one I saw over the past weekend, God, I forget who it was. Maybe it was the Rockies, whoever they were playing. It was one of those ones where he was late to the batter's box, and it was a strike 3, and that was the end of the game. It's like, oh, we won? Oh, cool. It's like, oh my God. Just, 888-957-9570. We had a lot of crazy stuff happening last night. We had the Florida Panthers nearly gagging a 3-0 series lead in the Stanley Cup Finals to the Edmonton Oilers, but they didn't. They win 2-1. They get their first Stanley Cup trophy in the history of their franchise. And Canada will have to wait another year. It's been a very long time. Hell, before I was born, right? Or was it 93, 92, whatever the hell it was. It's been about 30 years since Canada has won a Stanley Cup final. That being said, Connor McDavid, in a losing effort for the Edmonton Oilers, wins the Conn Smythe Trophy, which for those of you who don't know, don't follow hockey, the Conn Smythe Trophy is the best playoff performer. So not just the finals MVP, and it's not like the Bill Russell Trophy. It's different. This is a culmination of the entire playoffs, and Commissioner Gary Bettman made sure to state that while he was delivering the trophy to Connor McDavid, although McDavid was in the locker room at the time, hanging out with his teammates in the loss, didn't want to come out on the ice, and that's fair. I mean, it's the Florida Panthers. It's only the 5th time in playoffs history in the NHL that a member of the losing team won the Conn Smythe Trophy. So this doesn't happen very often, but it happened to Connor McDavid, a guy who was incredible, who was breaking Wayne Gretzky records throughout these playoffs. And whenever you're breaking the great ones records, yeah, you're doing something right. And Connor McDavid surely was. They were just gassed. I mean, Game 7, I mean, hockey, it's like watching a Game 7 in basketball. You've had so many damn games. We saw it with the Warriors and Cavs out in Oracle. Obviously, bad memories there. But you could just see, Steph, Clay, Dre. And Dre had one of the great performances in Game 7 loss that you'll ever see in that game. But these guys were gassed. Well, Draymond had a day off that series. Don't talk about that. You saw that last night with Edmonton. Late in that game, and Sean McDonough was on the call for ESPN, ABC, and he was just saying this team is just so tired. Towards that third period, towards the end there, they just didn't have anything left. They pulled the goalie, and they could not even get a shot off in the last minute of that game. So congratulations to the Florida Panthers. Where's my guy Gator? Is he calling in? He's celebrating out in South Florida? 888-957-9570. Gator, give me a call, buddy. We are streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. So go ahead and search 95.7 The Game on any of those platforms. Like, subscribe, give me a follow at Spadoni_Joe on Twitter. I would surely appreciate it. Give me a follow. I'll give you a follow back. I'm that kind of guy. All right? Unless your name is something crazy that I shouldn't be following. If that's the case, then I won't. All right. So the Giants get a nice victory. Well, back off a little bit. See, this is what happens. When the Giants win these kind of games and they're in a losing streak or they lost, 5 of their last 6, whatever it was, the inclination is, oh, man, we got to talk about it when they win if we're going to crush them when they lose. Kinda. I think last night was an emotional win. It was something that they needed to clear the mentals so they could move on. Not that you're ever going to, move on from, the memories and the love for Willie Mays. No, that'll always be a part of you, but just moving on to the actual baseball part. Because there was so much pressure on this team after the passing just to win one for Willie. And on the night you come back home and you're all rocking 24, yeah, there was a lot of pressure. You better have won that game. I mean, the Cubs, they get the same record right now. Both these teams. It's like I was watching the same team go at it. I was waiting for which team to blow it worse, and the Cubs blinked. Like, I had zero faith in either. Like, I was convinced, too, once they tied it up, oh, well, we're going to go to extras, and then what are the Cubs going to do? Sam's nodding his head like, yeah, maybe there's going to be a 2-run jack at the top of the 10th. You come to the bottom of the 10th. Oh, maybe the Giants rally. It just, these teams, it's so hard for these teams to just provide the kill shot. And the Giants finally did it. Yeah, thank you, Kyle. Yes, yeah, we're not talking about Kyle shenanigans right now. Although Brandon Ayuk, apparently, according to Ryan Clark, he met with the 49ers yesterday. And that reportedly, again, this is Ryan Clark, ESPN, former NFL champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said that it's hard for Brandon Ayuk not to take it personal, and that he is taking it personal during these negotiations. Hey, business is business, but damn it, if it's not personal sometimes. Again, I'll go back to that Michael Scott quote. It's like, it's nothing personal, it's just business. And he's like, business is the most personal thing there is. It's always personal. You're dealing with someone's life. And from that extent, I get it. I think we all like to think we're the mafioso types, right? It's nothing personal, Sonny. It's strictly business. Go Michael Corleone. Yeah, we're not really cold like that. I mean, some people are.
Oh!
Thank you, Paulie Walnuts. That's a cold individual. Paulie, the more I watch that show, God, he is just such a POS. He's such a horrible person. But to the one-liners, I mean, they're all horrible people. Don't get me wrong. Tony Soprano, Silvio Dante, Christopher Moltisanti, all these guys are enormous scumbags. The fact that we kind of celebrate them is more of just a testament to the show itself and the one-liners and all that sort of stuff. Don't get it twisted. These are horrible individuals that no one should be looking up to. That said, the food, the one-liners, we're suckers for it. All right? It's just the way it is. So Brandon Ayuk's taking it personally with 49ers contract negotiations. The Giants get a nice win. We'll back off a little bit from them. Elliot Ramos, 3 hits yesterday. Great catch. It wasn't quite Willie Mays-esque. I know what they were trying to say over the shoulder. Looked like he took a bad route early on. It wasn't like it was 480 feet dead center and Willie was full on sprinting. This is more of a slight sprint from Elliot Ramos. Nonetheless, great play. I just thought, comparing it to Willie Mays, I get it. It was Willie Mays night. I'm not trying to be a wet blanket here. All right? It just, wasn't quite Willie Mays-esque. And that's how highly I think of that Willie Mays play, which may be, again, the greatest in the history of American sports. Yeah. That big. All right. You know what else is getting pretty big right now? Calm down. It's Klay Thompson stuff with the Golden State Warriors. What's going on with negotiations there that are, again, reportedly frozen? That is what Anthony Slater, R95.7 The Game insider said. And Anthony Slater, by the way, going to be joining the morning roast in studio tomorrow. Yeah. Anthony Slater. Good to confirm this, by the way, Sammy. I already did, so it doesn't matter. Is Anthony Slater tomorrow in studio? Sweet. Thumbs up. Can't wait for that. I'm going to be off tomorrow, unfortunately. Shout out, father of two. Got to have some appointments, some errands to run as daddy, so I will be out. But nonetheless, Anthony Slater will be in studio at the morning roast, and I cannot wait to tap in and listen to that. Ask all the questions, all that. I'm sure they'll have callers want to call in, ask any questions. That would be welcome. But Anthony Slater in studio tomorrow. Cannot wait for that. Doing a little draft preview, doing a little free agency preview. Is Paul George, is he going to opt in and get traded over the weekend? That is a possibility, according to reports. The likelihood that he actually gets traded, we shall see. We shall see. And again, who cares if you're the Clippers, right? The Clippers are making the deal. The Warriors should be involved. Absolutely. Paul George is a tremendous player. He would be the best player that Stephen Curry has had since Kevin Durant. I know Andrew Wiggins was good for a couple months there. Great championship stretch. It was awesome. And I would argue that stretch that Andrew Wiggins had in the playoffs was better than any stretch that Paul George has had in his career. But Paul George has been the way more consistent player, has been, a guy that has led his team. I think we forget this when he was with Indiana to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, he's been that guy before. He has been that dude. And yeah, give me Paul George if you can. Now, what is a part of that trade package? Are the Clippers even going to be training within the West? Would they even do that? I heard Philadelphia is an option as well. There's lots of moving parts here. The player itself, though, if I'm the Warriors, absolutely. Are you giving up Kuminga, though? Are you giving up Wiggins? What are you giving up here? What would you give up, Warriors fans, to get Paul George if he was made available? 888-957-9570. Mike Dunleavy, general manager of your Golden State Warriors, talked yesterday, and we got a lot of cuts here, so I want to get to some of them. Here he is on if a trade is the best way for a team to get better. I thought this answer was pretty telling. Now, it is lying season, so take what any of these guys say with some sort of grain of salt. It could be a coarse sea salt. It could be one of those pink Himalayan sea salts. It could be the iodine salt, whatever you want it to be. Is it iodine? Is that what it iodize? Iodine something else. It's like the dye. I don't know. I probably effed that up. It's all right. Mike Dunleavy, is a trade the best way to get better?
I'm of the belief internal development is. I'm a big player development guy. I think our younger players have a really big chance to grow and get better. Pods, JK, Trace, Moses, and then even our guys we've had here for a while can get better. I think that's got to be the main thing. And then from there, you look to see what else is out there and can you make a move or a couple moves or do some stuff that enhances your team. But if that's what's like the one thing we're hinging everything on, like it's so hard to make a trade now in the NBA. I think we got a lot of teams that are really smart. They know what they're doing. To make a good quality trade that benefits both sides, which is what everybody's looking for, is tough. And so we'll explore that stuff. A lot of conversations going on. but I don't want to like get ahead of it and just say like there's just going to be some big move that we're going to do and all that. Could be if it was there, great, but it's not like something that must happen.
It's not something that must happen, but man, Mike, I got to tell you, I got myself there. If you were to make a big move and let's say it was for Paul George, I think your Q rating would be sky high. I think people would be very excited. I think your stock, again, would rise tremendously within Warriors fans. Not that he cares about any of that, because I'm sure that is not why he's doing this. He's doing it to try to win a championship and for the Warriors to be sustainable for a long time to come. But in that response, and again, 888-957-9570, I want to hear from all you lovely people from the Xfinity Mobile text line or call in. He said he wants to retain players and build through drafts and all that sort of stuff, which is great, but also you traded a guy that was kind of a cornerstone for the future, we thought, in Jordan Poole as soon as you possibly could. And in your presser last year, you said that he was going to be part of the future for this team. So I can't really take anything you said yesterday, Mike, at face value. I get it. You can't reveal your cards. There's things that we are not privy to here in the media. I understand all that. But you can't tell me right now trading for the likes of a Paul George or a Jimmy Butler is the best move for next season. I believe that for next year. Now, if this is for the long run, which again, general managers, they're balancing this constantly. Present versus the future. But how much of a future does Stephen Curry have left? That's the question. He's getting older. He showed a little wear and tear, some signs of, you know what, maybe his skills are diminishing slightly. It's okay to say it. I know, don't touch the golden child. He's the golden boy of the Bay Area, the golden goose. Daddy, I want a golden goose. No, it's fine. He is still better than damn near everyone else there. Not named, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatums of the world. A handful of guys. Steph is still up in that conversation, though. But how much does he have left in the tank to carry it? Do you still believe he is a number one? These are the things that Dunleavy, Lacob, that they are weighing right now. So yes, trading for a Jimmy Buckets or a Paul George may be the immediate answer for next season, but what about the season after that and the season after that? Well, I don't think Warriors fans are thinking like that. I don't. I want to hear from them right now. 888-957-9570. How many Warriors fans are actually thinking about the future of this team right now? Like, I'm talking 3, 4, 5 years down the line. Or are you just completely invested in these next, let's call it 2 seasons? These next year and then the year after that. That's it. We're going all in there. Or are you thinking about the future in life after Stephen Curry? Because you haven't known that in a very long time. And the unknown is very scary. Just ask Elsa in Frozen 2 when she went into the unknown. All right? It's a solid song, by the way. 888-957-9570. More from Mike Dunleavy on being realistic. Because he said that in his past answer, and this is what he had to say about being realistic during all this stuff.
I think we have to be realistic, and I don't want to press and overdo something. Some patience needs to take place, while at the same time recognizing sort of this time horizon we have with Steph and Draymond and hopefully Clay. As those guys kind of get a little bit older, we have to be mindful at a point maybe they're not at a level to compete for a championship. I don't think that's too near, but at some point it probably will be.
All right, more from Mike on making trades in today's NBA. Again, Mike Dunleavy spoke to the media yesterday, general manager of your Golden State Warriors. And I do think Mike has grown into this role. I think he's very comfortable at the podium. I think he's personable. I did not think that was going to be the case. Taking over for Bob Myers, who again is probably the most personable GM we've ever had here in the Bay Area. I mean, the guy was so generous with his time at this station, at the other station, at a lot of stations. He was just so generous. Hell, ESPN, all that. But Mike has done a pretty damn good job of being the face of that front office and taken over. It's been a short time. It's only been a little over a year now. So here's what he has to say about making trades today, in today's NBA, I should say, and how hard it is.
It's just hard to do deals. I can't stress that enough. Like, there's a lot of good teams out there that know what they're doing. Whereas in the past, it just seemed like you could pull a fast one on somebody, and there's different reasons for doing a trade. Now it's hard. Like, there's salary related trades, but how often do you see a trade that's like straight basketball for basketball? And so because of that, it's just not easy. But at the same time, we know here, some good teams have been built based on getting an Andrew Wiggins in a trade, something like that. So got to keep pursuing those things, but recognizing they're not always easy.
Well, Mike, I often don't see two franchises trading actual basketballs for each other, if that's what you're insinuating. But we just saw Josh Giddey and Alex Caruso get traded, one for the other. So it can happen. We've seen you trade Jordan Poole for Chris Paul, basically. It could happen. Draft picks are attached, but it's not rocket science. Trade. I can do the simulator right now, Mike. There's literally websites for me to do this. Yeah, right now, look at me. I'm just going to go on my Safari, NBA GM trade machine. There we go. I got Fanspo. I got ESPN. I got Real GM. I got Apps, NBA Swap. I got Spotrac. I got a lot of things. So it's really not that difficult. Now, to get someone to bite, to get the actual groundwork and foundation laid on Zed trades, can be difficult. But the actual X's and O's of all of it, it's really not that. It's not. Does the player want to come here or doesn't? Is a player going to be disgruntled coming here, or is he not going to be? That's kind of what you're weighing here. And salaries, yes, it's a big part of it. But again, getting a guy like Paul George or Jimmy Butler, it's not that difficult to comprehend. Let Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area, guy that covers the Warriors at a very high level, joined the afternoon show yesterday, talk about it. And would the Warriors be interested in PG-13?
The Warriors would have interest in Paul George for sure. And if Paul decides that he wants to sign a contract and therefore be available in trade, the Warriors are definitely going to look at that. What player who's going to be a free agent is more attractive than Paul, would be more attractive than Paul George? Be available, I should say, in any way, shape, any way, trade or free agency. And that's why I think the Warriors would look at him. He's a two-way player, defense, offense. He's versatile. He can play three positions, guard three positions. So they would be interested in him. Now, the chances of that happening, I'd still say at this point it's a long shot, but I would not rule it out because the Warriors would be very aggressive if he becomes available.
Warriors will be very aggressive if he becomes available. Interesting. Now, another guy that I think not easier to get. Again, salaries have to, all that sort of stuff has to happen. But a guy that's playing in the opposite conference, because I do think at the end of the day, trading within the West can be tricky at times. Again, Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, is opening a new arena down there. He's going to need some talent to sell to all those season ticket holders, all those PSLs, whatever you want to call them, down there in La La Land. They're done being second fiddle to the Los Angeles Lakers, who, by the way, JJ Redick was announced as their head coach yesterday. Won the press conference, whatever that means. And how many head coaches win the press conference, right? Well, JJ won it yesterday. I'll give him that. Looked and talked the part. He also had some F-bombs in there. Getting a little salty, huh? Maybe it was our program director reaching out to him, see if he's available to come on our station. Got him really fired up. I still can't believe that. Oh, JJ. Oh, man. That guy. It's going to be a total bleep show. But I'm here to watch it. It's going to be like a car accident. Just everyone's going to be rubbernecking. I'd rather have Jimmy Buckets than Paul George. If I could have either of them, give me Jimmy Butler. Go talk to Pat Riley. Go hit him up. See what's going on. Pat Riley was, kind of putting Jimmy, I should say, in his place at the end of the year last year when the Heat got bounced in the first round and Jimmy was nowhere to be found because Jimmy was hurt. But Jimmy, as I'm going third person here, he's going Ricky Henderson. Jimmy thought that had he stayed healthy, You know, they would have beaten the Celtics. Well, you weren't healthy, Jim. Sorry. And we saw this offseason, you know, went down to LA, hung out with Cameron Brink right after, you know, hanging out with Steph and Draymond. Went to a restaurant. So we shall see. Jimmy Buckets, PG. Are you going to be disappointed, Warriors fans, if they don't get at least some huge name? Or are you, you know, is the Giants fan in you, for those of you who are Giants fans? And we got some A's fans here. Tough L yesterday. Is the Giants fan in you being like, you know what, we're not getting anything. I've been conditioned to think we're going to get all these superstars, all this sort of stuff, but we're going to get, you know, a guy like a Dario Saric last year, Chris Paul, and a bag of chips, maybe barbecue. What are your expectations of this offseason? 888-957-9570. We'll get into more of the Mike Dunleavy sound, more of what Monty Poole had to say, and what Brandon Kravitz had to say. No, not Lenny Kravitz, Brandon Kravitz, his cousin. I don't know, maybe he is. He joined the Morning Roast yesterday, covers the Orlando Magic for their local Odyssey affiliate over there. 96.9, Sam? I'll get a 96.9 out there, FM out in Orlando. Brandon Kravitz with some interesting thoughts on Klay Thompson's future, potentially in Orlando, if he chooses them. Again, they're the odds-on favorite, along with the Golden State Warriors, to land Klay Thompson. Is his market going to be there? We'll discuss all of that on the other side. More of your calls, more of your texts as the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, rolls on in 95.7 The Game.
Make this the summer to go anywhere and do anything with exciting deals on your favorite Jeep brand vehicles. Experience the luxury and comfort of Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever, while the open-air freedom of Jeep Wrangler and Jeep...
95.7 The Game.
The Lakers.
Move on, Joe. Man, I thought I was feeling pretty confident with that, but all right.
Thanks, Tim. Tim Roy on the rejoin. Adam and SF over there, too. I think we got Priest and Palo Alto. And Bonte. It's whatever. Tuesday here on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, you got me for two more segments before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. They're fired up. Giants get the walk-off win last night as the team honored Willie Mays. All of the members of the Giants rocking 24. Very cool to see. Ninth inning rally coming from a 2-run deficit, just like they did a week prior in Chicago against the Cubs, doing it again against the Cubbies, this time at home. So hopefully they can actually carry momentum on this homestand, unlike the road trip last week, in which they came from behind with a Tyro Estrada 3-run jack in the ninth. But topic of the day and the dominating conversation this time of the year, as hockey is over, congratulations to the Florida Panthers getting a massive win. And again, good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for summer plans, summer vacation. If you're on the East Coast, if you're in Hawaii, if you're wherever you're at, I'm glad you downloaded that Odyssey app and favorited 95.7 The Game, and you took me wherever you wanted to go. And if you're international, shout out the Netherlands, shout out Australia, shout out Italy, baby. All my Italians and my paisanos out there. Never a doubt. Italy advancing. Second of the group. España first. That's all right. We'll go second. Advancing to the knockout stage. They're going to take on Switzerland. And yeah, I love me some Swiss cheese this time of year. All right? That's what the Italians are going to make the Swiss turn into. Holes everywhere. Swiss cheese, baby. Let's go. Big win for the Azzurri yesterday. Forza. All right. And yes, I go USA first, loyal to the soil, and then I go the motherland, all that sort of stuff. All right. So that is my fandom for those of you that actually cared. But this time of year, if you're not into Euros and if you're not into Copa America, you're into NBA offseason, the draft, which is coming up, and free agency. Oh, and by the way, speaking of the NBA draft, because we're going to be all over it right here at 95.7 The Game, because we are your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. And the NBA draft is tomorrow. The first round starts 5 o'clock Wednesday. The second round begins at 1 p.m. on Thursday. We'll be live at Warriors HQ both days. Willard and Dibbs from Thrive City starting at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, and Steiny and Goo start at 10 a.m. on Thursday. All right? Plus, the Warriors offseason summit details have been released. This is huge news, guys. I mean, summit? Let's go. It's with all the hosts. It's going to be Monday, July 8th, 4 to 6 p.m. Willard and Dibbs will get the party started at 2 p.m. The location, Fremont Bank, 39150 Fremont Boulevard in Fremont. I don't know how this is going to work. I have not seen the setup. I don't know what, it just as a bank. I don't know how it's going to be. Are we going to be in the safe? Are we going to be tellers? Or do we have to wear suits? I don't know. But space is limited. I do know that. So go to 957thegame.com to reserve your spot now. So we got an action-packed couple of weeks here at 95.7 The Game. We got the California Classic happening next weekend at Chase Center. I'm going to take young Benjamin to those games, or at least one of them. That's our little tradition now for the last few years. That'll be very fun. I think they're splitting up at Chase and at Golden One. So we're doing both Golden State and Sacramento. That is awesome. Cannot wait for that. See all the Summer League action before they go to Vegas. You can see it here at Chase Center or Golden One. So we're talking Paul George, the likelihood of that. We're talking Klay Thompson. We're talking a lot. What is Paul George's market, though, first and foremost? That's the big fish right now. And I know that's more of a fan-driven thing right now. The Warriors right now aren't worried about Paul George. They're worried about Klay Thompson. They're worried about Chris Paul. That's what has their attention right now. They get past that, then they can potentially focus on bigger fish, the Bermuda, right? Well, here's Brian Geltzeiler, who is Sirius XM NBA radio host with Eddie Johnson. He's very good. He was on with Steiny and Evan filling in for Guru. By the way, Guru back today, so cannot wait to hear Guru's thoughts on everything. But here's Geltzy, as Steiny calls him, talking about the market for one PG-13.
There's a couple really interesting names that are being bandied about right now. Paul George is one of them, because if he opts into the $48 million in his deal, that's going to be much easier for him to go to a team he wants to go to, with the Clippers' willingness to trade him. And for the Clippers, they're going to want to get something back for him if they're going to lose him. And I don't think they're going to come to an agreement in a deal. I feel like what Paul George wants, and I don't think it's about annual money. I think it's about years. The amount of years that Paul George wants is going to be 4 years, and I don't think the Clippers want to be paying him at 38 at this point. They're going to have to make a finale. They're in the process of negotiating with James Harden right now. I think, again, it's going to be the issue is going to be years than money with him as well.
And speaking of the money and the finances, all that sort of stuff, and Mike Dunleavy made it seem like it was rocket science and it was calculus and it was trigonometry, all that. Well, don't fear. We have an expert in that field joining the Morning Roast at 9:20. Bobby Marks, ESPN's own former assistant general manager with the Brooklyn Nets. Bobby Marks, their capologist again over at ESPN, is going to join the Morning Roast 9:20. Get a lowdown. Is it even feasible if the Warriors try to trade for this guy? I remember when he joined Willard and Dibbs after the season ended, and Bobby was just kind of poo-pooing a lot of stuff like, yeah, I don't think the Warriors are going to be big fish hunting. I don't think they really can. It's not realistic. He thought that Klay Thompson was a $30 million a year guy after the season ended. I wonder how the Malik Monk deal, whether it was a discount or not, how that affects Klay Thompson in his market going forward. That's going to be very interesting. Here's Geltzeiler, again, Sirius XM NBA radio host, who joined Steiny and Goo yesterday, Evan filling in for Goo, on if Klay will be a casualty of the Warriors getting another superstar potentially.
The Warriors doing a little bit of a reload here to try to make one more push in this Steph Draymond era kind of seems like the right thing. And unfortunately, from a financial standpoint, the sacrificial lamb has to be Klay Thompson, just because that money coming off the books allows them the flexibility that they wouldn't have. Even if they go make Klay a deal, that $20 million is going to keep him in the second apron. Even if and who knows if he's going to take $20 million. So I think this is imminent that the Warriors and Klay Thompson say goodbye. And do I know that the Warriors had a big player? I'm not sure that they do. But this Chris Paul, this option on Chris Paul's contract and the ability to guarantee it is a really nice salary cap slot to be able to move out, stack a deal, and be able to get a more significant player.
I just saw this text, so I have to go to it immediately, because we were just talking about Mike Dunleavy, who again spoke to the media yesterday. We've been reacting to some of his sound, Warriors general manager, and just saying how personable he is, and that's hard to do because the most personable GM we've ever had was Bob Myers, who Dunleavy took over for. 510, Stephen from Hercules. I met Bob Myers at a live Bluey show in the city a few years ago. Very personable. A live Bluey concert. Yeah, Bob's got, his kids are young. He's got some youngins. That's great. Oh, man. Bluey. That stuff's got a chokehold on all of our kids. I'll tell you that right now. And those parents make me feel like such a bad parent sometimes. They humor their kids way too much. They let them walk all over them. Have a backbone. What's going on in Australia? Just letting your kids walk around all over you? Come on. Just put your foot down sometimes. All right, Mom and Dad? Chili and Bandit. Those are your real names. It is funny that all the character names are, because they're all dogs. If you haven't seen the show, it's a cartoon show for kids called Bluey. They all have like dog names as their actual names. Chili, Bandit, Bingo, Bluey. It's funny. You know what's not funny? Life without Klay Thompson, Golden State. Be very sad. And when I heard Geltzeiler respond right there saying the Steph and Dre era and window, I was like, whoa. He didn't say Steph, Dre, and Klay. He said Steph and Dre. And that's, a possibility. Now, Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area, seems to think that the odds that Klay returns Could be close to 50-50 at this point. Take a listen.
I've been saying a 50-50 for a long time, but I'm going to say 52-48 because I think the market I don't think the market will materialize as happily as he would like. I think I don't think there'll be the kind of money he's hoping to get from some of the other teams that would be looking at him. So that's why I think there's a good chance he could return because if the money's close, it's going to be up to Clay.
52-48. Not that it's that big of a jump, Monty, but I get what you're saying. What is Clay's market going to be? That is the question that is going to be so fascinating to see unfold because we're all assuming it's the Orlando Magic. We haven't seen anything big, like news reporting wise, whether it's from Woj or Shams or anyone like that. But the odds in Vegas seem to think that they know something. And in Vegas, I get it. They're in the business of making money, so maybe they're just trying to make a lot of money. Say, here, there's the favorite. All right, cash in now. There's a mystery team out there. There is. And whether it's a team like Oklahoma City, whether it's Dallas, there's some team out there that's lurking that needs a Klay Thompson. And whether it's in the East, whether it's, I don't know. But someone is going to emerge here, and they're going to try to steal Klay Thompson in these sweepstakes. And maybe they whisper sweet nothings into his ear, maybe give him a little pay bump, and he goes elsewhere. I still think he could end up in Golden State. I just think with what we've heard with the contract negotiations, just like with Brandon Ayuk taking it personally, I think Klay's taking it very personally. And I'm not going to begrudge him for doing so. Again, it's not personal, it's just business. I say to hell with that. It's always personal, man, when you're dealing with these guys and these egos. Absolutely. 888-957-9570. Call or text the Xfinity mobile text line. Your thoughts. You want Paul George? You want Jimmy Buckets? You want to bring back Klay? You want to run it back? Is it about the future? Is it about the present? There's so many different layers to this Warriors conversation that we still have to unfold as these weeks pass by here. Again, NBA draft tomorrow, free agency starting. A lot happening in the world of basketball, and we're breaking it all down right here on 95.7 The Game, your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. And we'll wrap up this conversation and this show on the other side on 95.7 The Game.
Toyota, the best-selling and most reliable brand on the road in California with more hybrid and electrified options to choose from than any other brand. Toyota, let's go places.
LEAD, Law Enforcement Against Drugs and Violence, is the most rapidly growing drug and violence prevention charity in the United States. By using an evidence-based, tested, and proven effective
Klay Thompson conversations, man. They getting spicy. Getting excited. NBA offseason. More so than the NFL. More so than Major League Baseball and hot stove. And the hot stove is so... Can we call it something else, by the way? The hot stove is the stupidest thing ever. I know it goes back to whatever, but just... It's almost lukewarm. It's like an electric stove that's not even turned on. It's just there. But NBA free agency, all the different drama, all the different layers. You never know what's going to get happened. Or we're going to get DeAndre Jordan getting locked in a hotel room and you're not leaving here unless you sign back with the Clippers. Like crazy crap like that happens. So I don't even know what's going to happen with Klay Thompson, with Paul George, Jimmy Butler, all these big names. Listen, would I be shocked if all of them stayed where they're at? No. Would I be shocked if all of them moved on to new teams? No, because the NBA seasons are insane. That's what happens. So 888-957-9570. What is the most pressing matter for Golden State right now? Is it worrying about Klay Thompson? Is it worrying about getting another big superstar and you've already checked out and you moved on from Klay? Is it, are you giving up Kuminga? Are you giving up Wiggins? There is so many different layers, and it's going to be so fascinating to watch this unfold. And this is a very difficult offseason to navigate if you're Mike Dunleavy. Very difficult. There's a lot of egos involved. There are legacy players involved. There's potentially statue players involved. And you want to be remembered as a guy that wasn't the end of a dynasty. You don't want to be associated with, Bob Myers moved on, and that was it. Bob Myers saw the writing on the wall at the punch in the face, Draymond Green and Jordan Poole, and that was it. You shipped Jordan Poole out of here. You got Chris Paul in. All right. What's next? That was easy. And I don't even know if you got better from that. To be honest, I know Jordan Poole had a rough season for the most part. He kind of finished last regular season on a somewhat stronger note. Washington Wizards, not a lot of expectations to begin with there. Again, I said, a guy that I would keep my eyes on, and I know he's been kind of viewed as a knucklehead at times, but he's got size, he's got shooting, decent defender. Again, still relatively young at 28 years old. He's going to be 29, so, but still. You could say he's a redundant player next to Andrew Wiggins potentially, but Kyle Kuzma, what's he up to? Again, I look at a name like that. I think you think of the name, you think, he's not playing on a winning team right now. I look up his contract right now at Spot Track, and he's under team control for this next season and 2 more after that. So for the next 3 seasons, you got him. His average annual cash is $23 million, $21 million, $19 million. All right. They do it by cap percentage here. So 16% next year, 13%. It's not unreasonable. And that's a player I would be interested in. Now, you've done a deal already with Washington. I know JP and Kuzma are tight. Is JP saying you don't want to play there? I don't know. Kuzma's won a ring already with the Los Angeles Lakers. Hey, Mickey Mouse. Hey, I love Mickey Mouse, by the way. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Oh, Toodles. Come on, man. Miss me with the Mickey Mouse slander. I'm not about it. But that's another name I would keep an eye on. Kyle Kuzma, potentially. Looking at the bad teams that aren't looking to do anything and maybe to move off his salary, that's one of them. More from Mike Dunleavy, again, who has the most difficult offseason, I think, amongst some of these big teams. You can put maybe Rob Pelinka up there with the Lakers. Anyone that's in the Western Conference, like the Suns, anyone that is there, God love you. It's going to be very difficult to try to crack this new upper echelon in the Western Conference. Whether it's the Dallas Mavericks, whether it's the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Chris Finch, they just extended his contract, head coach of the team. Whether it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are already getting better, getting Alex Caruso. Again, they get size, they get length, they get athleticism, they get ball handling ability. With Caruso coming in, they move off of Josh Giddey. It's a win-win for both. Chicago gets a younger player with a lot of upside there. You've got to get better. You've got to get younger if you can. But if you can't, getting better and significantly better while getting an older player and going all in for this season and next season, I think I'm okay with that if I'm a Warriors fan. I think I'm okay with that. Dunleavy, talking to the media yesterday, asked if other teams are calling in about their young players.
Yeah, I think everybody's making calls right now, whether it's on, future draft picks, current players, everybody's trying to get better. And so everybody's exploring, asking, and, it's good that the phones are ringing and there's interest in our guys. I think that's a good sign for kind of the level and quality that they're at. Doesn't mean we're too engaged with it though.
And this next one I'm about to play is Tim Kawakami via The Athletic and our Odyssey guy here, TK Pod, Odyssey Podcast. Tim Kawakami asking Dunleavy what he said about Poole a year ago. So if you remember at that presser, Mike Dunleavy was like, oh yeah, Jordan Poole, he's sticking around here. And he's gone. As soon as he possibly could. Gone. Chris Paul, come on down. And that was talking about days in radio. When at 5 a.m., the amount of callers I had that were seething that they got Chris Paul. It was a culmination of things. They had just lost to the Lakers. They were defending champs at the time, getting bounced by LeBron James. A lot of hurt egos. That whole season was just a dumpster fire, and it culminated in the trading of Jordan Poole. And it was a lot. And there was just so much anger, and the vitriol was just insane. But here's Kawakami asking Dunleavy about last year, what he said about Jordan Poole.
A year ago, granted, all things changed. You did say that you weren't going to, Jordan Poole was going to be on the team about 4 days before you traded him. Is this different than that?
To be clear, I said I expected Jordan to be back on the team next year, and I did at that point. But this thing changes so quickly, especially when there's a deadline in place, whether it's a trade deadline, a draft, free agency. Things change like that. So I reserve the right to go back on, or not, I wouldn't say go back, because I said I didn't expect him to be back, and I would stick by that. And I said I expected him to be back, like I do all the guys we have in our contract. I really do. Like, there's nothing going on right now where I'm like, man, this may not happen or whatever. So things can always change. Draft goes on, picks become available, something changes. But on the whole, I feel pretty comfortable with the group that we got.
That was just a whole lot of, no, I said expect. I didn't say that. You're gaslighting me. Which, by the way, gaslighting, I guess, is the phrase of the century now. Gaslighting. And no, it's not actual, like starting a fire with like gas. It's like, oh no, you're putting words in don't put words in my mouth. That's what Dunleavy was saying to Kawakami there. I expected him to be on the team, but he wasn't. I will say the same thing. I expected him to be a part of, but come on. Again, it's lying season. Just like we talk about the NFL draft, NBA draft is right around the corner too. It's not the same level of the NFL draft, not even close. Although this year is a little different, where they're trying to be a little NFL light when they're doing 2 days of coverage. So doing the first round on one day and the second round on the next day, which I think is kind of overkill. But you know what? They see how much money they're making from ESPN and ABC and all that. Yeah. They want to try to capitalize. Adam Silver wants to try to capitalize on that as well. He sees what Roger Goodell, the money that he's getting for his league and his owners in their pockets. That's what Adam Silver's trying to do with the NBA and the governors board. All right. So Kawakami kind of called him out on it. He's like, all right, you expected. All right. Whole lot of word salad there, as Sam Lubin put so eloquently in my ear right there. What did the postseason teach you, Mike Dunleavy? Well, it's an interesting question because they didn't really get to the postseason. I guess technically postseason is any game after the regular season. So they were there for a game. Didn't last very long though. What did you learn though, Mike?
Just in terms of the postseason, like how competitive it is in terms of parity, and I think you see the last 5 seasons, you got 5 different champions. I think that's exciting for the league in the sense of, if everybody's got a chance in a way. Whether it's a play-in team making the finals or a team that's like Dallas, 5th seed making the finals, like everybody's got a chance if you come together at the right time. And I don't think there's any like overwhelming teams out there. So I think it gives us a chance a team that didn't make the playoffs like last year and ourselves, how far away are we really? Most times you'd say, man, we're quite a bit of ways, but the way things are shaped now and there's a push for parity, like I think we can turn things around pretty quickly.
They're going to have to. I mean, That's it. You would hope with this offseason that's the case. Again, I don't envy the position that Mike Dunleavy is in, but he is going to have to make some moves to get this team within title contention. And I don't know if those moves are available. Let's say if they do get a Paul George or a Jimmy Butler, they will be a better team. And I do believe they will be a playoff team. But is that good enough? I mean, just getting your foot in the door and having Steph Curry on your team, a healthy Stephen Curry, you would hope, makes them dangerous. But we saw in a one-game situation, if you flirt with that, I don't care if you add Paul George or Jimmy Butler or whatever. You can have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on there. You flirt with disaster, disaster could strike. And I think so much of last season was, oh, don't let us hang around. Don't let us hang around. Don't let us hang around. Well, the Warriors were hanging around all season long, and then what happened? They got their asses kicked against the Sacramento Kings in one game, and their season was over. So yeah, you add a Paul George or Jimmy Buckets, you'll get a little bit better. Does that make you an instant title contender? I'm not sure. But I know there'll be a more exciting team. I know it'll be a team that will actually be fun to watch at times, because last year, and again, if Draymond Green's going to be on the court, that's another conversation about this. What's his level going to be like next year? Because there's a lot of people that seem to think, well, if Draymond Green just stayed on the floor last year, this team might have been a top 5 seed. Let's relax. I don't know if you get the growth of a Jonathan Kuminga without Draymond Green missing some time last year. So there's a butterfly effect there. But we're up against it. More of this tomorrow. Again, NBA draft tomorrow. We're going to be live and local at Warriors HQ tomorrow at 95.7 The Game. Willard and Dibbs tomorrow. And then Steiny and Goo on Thursday reacting to all the drama from night 1 of the NBA draft. This is such a weird draft, too. I don't even know who the hell is going to go number 1 overall. There's just so many names and prospects. European guys I don't know anything about. But you know, Bonta Hill and Joe Shasky, and they're up next on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
When selecting a financial institution, how do you know you're making the right choice? As